On this edition of Lakeville City Limits, Public Works Director Chris Petrie highlights some of the activities happening around the city. Next, I talk with Planning Director Daryl Morey to find out about building activity, including the pace of single-family housing permits. And finally, Jody from Lakeville Liquors talks with a former Minnesotan about the winery he started out in Central California. Hello, I'm City Administrator Steve Melke. Welcome to City Limits, Lakeville's public information program. Up first on today's show, we find out about some of the recent projects going on around the city.
In this edition of Public Works Now, I will highlight a recent water main break on Ipava Avenue, the city's new traffic control response trailer, and summer activities of our environmental resources staff. Lastly, City Engineer Zach Johnson will provide a construction update on some of the projects occurring in Lakeville this summer.
Hi, I'm Tom in the Street Department, and I'm hauling gravel, and this is Public Works Now.
Hi, I'm Chris Petrie, Public Works Director for the City of Lakeville. Currently, we're out on site in our 2013 street reconstruction project area. We're in the Clays Acres neighborhood. Along with Clays Acres, we're also reconstructing streets in the Valley Park neighborhood, as well as along 204th Street. In the Valley Park area, we've split the project into two phases. Phase 1, which is the northern part of the project, has all of the curb and gutter installed, the base course of asphalt, and currently we are working on restoring the boulevard areas. In Phase 2, we're completing pouring all of the new concrete curb and gutter and are preparing to do our first layer of asphalt. In Clays Acres, we're currently working on water main replacement as well as pouring our first areas of curb and gutter and driveway aprons. Lastly, 204th Street, we'll be starting in that area later in the month of August or early September. The Utilities Division has responded to several water main breaks since the beginning of summer. The most recent break occurred on Ipava Avenue, just north of the intersection with 165th Street at about 2:30 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon. A resident stopped in at the water treatment facility to notify staff of water bubbling up under the pavement and running down Ipava Avenue. Staff immediately responded, working first to shut off the water to that segment of pipe. Once that had been done, the roadway was evaluated and southbound traffic was moved to share the northbound lane to avoid a soft spot in the road created by the water scouring out some of the road's surface and base. Our Streets Division staff responded with some interim traffic control devices until a formal work zone could be laid out around the site of the break. Due to the location of the break and the equipment needed to reach the pipe, a contractor handled the excavation while Public Works staff hauled debris and new material to fill the excavation. Within about 4 hours, the water main was repaired and the southbound lanes were open to traffic. A new asphalt patch was put in place over the excavation area the very next day, keeping the disruption to motorists to a minimum. The Public Works Department's Streets Division is responsible for traffic control, street closures, and pedestrian safety in relation to emergency response and special events. The Streets Division was looking for a way to mobilize more quickly and safely to these events. Our street superintendent secured a grant with the local Road Research Board through the local Operational Research Assistance Program, which fully funded the construction of a traffic control response trailer. This trailer is stocked with over 100 barricades and cones to allow for a more efficient and safe response. Our environmental resources staff has been busy this year. Since the end of May, environmental resources staff has inspected 284 individual lots and developments for a total of 367 inspections for erosion control. Issues found are being resolved through communications, withholding inspections, as well as stop work orders. Even with the strong presence by environmental resources staff making inspections, there are still many sites out of compliance. Our staff will continue to monitor and work with developers and builders to resolve these issues to protect the surface waters in our city. In regards to forestry this year, and particularly throughout the past month, there have been many tree issues ranging from unlicensed companies removing trees, several Dutch elm and other tree disease calls, to tree removal requests from city property due to personal property threats. Again, our environmental resources staff is working diligently regarding the management of city trees and the control and spread of tree diseases. Our environmental resources staff also works on wetland delineations. We've been dealing with several of these delineations as they relate to development and possible development. Currently, there are 7 properties with wetland delineations being completed, and since the beginning of 2013, staff has worked through 6 other properties from delineation to mitigation and credit purchases. Did you know the city has over 6 rain gardens that we are responsible for? Recently, environmental resources staff worked with Sentence to Serve crews to provide some much needed upkeep on our rain gardens. They did a very thorough job, and the rain gardens are all looking great and are functioning well to reduce pollutants from stormwater at each location. Our environmental resources staff also works with community groups for storm drain stenciling. Recently, we worked with a church group who were looking for outreach projects in the community and had 20 students ages 12 to 18 that worked together in the Flagstaff area to stencil storm drains over a 4-hour period. This is a project any group can do in the city to help protect our surface waters, and we encourage people to contact our environmental resources staff to volunteer.
Hi, I'm Jim Schiffman, and to continue talking about public works activities, joining me is City Engineer Zach Johnson. How are you, Zach?
Good, Jim. How are you today?
Very good. We're in front of City Hall, and I understand there's several projects we're going to take a look at today. And the first one is actually across the street here from City Hall. So shall we safely cross the street and take a look at it?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Follow us. Okay, Zach, we have safely navigated across Holyoke, and here's the new sidewalk. Tell me about it.
Sure, this was a city project, Jim, that was intended to provide a pedestrian connection from the residents on the south side or downtown Lakeville over to the north side in City Hall, the library, and the Heritage Center. It's part of a 2-step project. So the first was the city project, in which we constructed the sidewalk. The second will be a county project in which they're going to make some minor modifications to the county road intersection there by changing the free right turn into downtown to just a designated right turn lane. So there'll be some minor modifications, real minor inconveniences while they construct it, but the biggest thing is you'll see a crosswalk striping from the south side now to the north side.
Very good, and what this will, I'm sure, is going to help is the residents who live downtown have another safe way to get to the Heritage Center and the library. So that's very good that they put this in.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see now today there is no crosswalk for residents, a designated area. Now there will be here.
Excellent. Well, what's the next project we're going to go take a look at?
Next project we're going to look at is another county project. It's the Dodd Boulevard Highview Avenue reconstruction.
Oh, well, let's go take a look.
All right.
Well, Zach, we have moved north of Lakeville City Hall, and we are located now at Dodd and Highview, where the newest roundabout here in the city of Lakeville is located. Zach, tell us, there's a lot of things that are going on. I mean, we got curb and gutters, trucks going all over the place. Tell us about this project.
Sure, we're standing right now on top of the roundabout at the intersection of Dodd Boulevard and Highview Avenue. This is a county project. The county is reconstructing Dodd Boulevard from Hayes Avenue to 183rd Street to a 4-lane divided roadway. And then at the intersection here we have kind of a hybrid roundabout where it'll be 2 lanes along Dodd Boulevard and then 1 lane along Highview Avenue. You've seen a lot of the progress. You've seen curb and gutter. You've seen some of the subgrade going on here. We're looking to have this open about the middle of September.
Good. Well, you know, this is the first time we've actually been out here to actually tape what this looks like. Zach, could you kind of tell us how the traffic is going to move? I mean, we've got a vehicle here that's spraying water just to keep the dust down. But how is this all going to work? Because you're going to have 2 lanes coming in each direction. How is this all going to work?
Yep, you'll have 2 lanes coming from the west and the east. So traffic will be able to make a right turn, go through, or make a left turn. And then because there's less traffic along Highview, there's only 1 lane along the roundabout that goes north and south.
Very good. And the idea about this is basically you want to move the traffic more, because when you have the main cedar over there and the roads over here, there's just people coming and going on this road all the time, and the goal is to move the traffic faster.
Right. Yep, roundabouts have been proven to be really effective at improving traffic flow operations, but most of all, improving safety dramatically.
Very good. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about while we're here?
No, I think this covers this one, and we can move to the other roundabout in town, the one at Kendrick Avenue and 205th Street.
Excellent, and that's almost near completion, so let's take a look at that one.
All right.
Okay, Zach, our final stop is the new roundabout here at 205th. Tell us about this project, and it looks like it's near completion.
Sure, this was a city project, Jim. This was a roundabout at the intersection of Kendrick Avenue and 205th Street, intended to improve traffic flow operations and be built for capacity as this area here develops. The timing of it is important. MnDOT is in the process of completing surface improvements along Interstate 35, and it is possible that some cars may use this as an alternate road. So it was important to get this project constructed in a timely manner. It's about 90% complete. We have one more course of bituminous to put down and finish some other improvements, and this will be all set.
Now, seeing that we're kind of in this area by the freeway, frontage road, what are some of the other projects late in the fall here, or I guess early in the fall, that are going to be taking place? I think there's still stuff on 35 and maybe a trail in the works down here.
Right there, MnDOT is working on I-35 surface improvements, which is some repair and maintenance to the existing pavement. There is another city project that's taking place actually just north of this. The city is constructing a new trail segment along Kendrick Avenue, basically starting at 205th Street and extending all the way up to 185th Street. And that'll complete the loop around Lake Marion.
Well, it's been a busy summer for you guys in the engineering department and public works, and a lot of projects here that are coming up to completion, so it's going to make it a lot easier for our citizens to make it around town.
Yep, it's been a busy year.
Yeah. Well, if anybody out there has any questions for you, Zach, how can they get a hold of you?
They can contact the engineering department at 952-985-4500.
Great. Thanks a lot for your time, Zach, and I'm sure we'll be touching base with you here later in the fall.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jim.
That concludes this edition of Public Works Now. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact the Public Works Department at 952-985-2700 or visit us on our website.
I'm Hank, a water hog, and I'm glad there's plenty of water to waste. As a water hog, I always like to have water already running in the room when I come in, or when I go to take a tubby. I also like to water when city regulations tell me not to. Oh well, another $200 fine. My favorite way to use water, is to wash my driveway.
Joining me today is Daryl Morey, Planning Director for the City of Lakeville. Daryl, thanks for joining me on City Limits.
Thanks for inviting me, Steve.
Daryl, Planning Director, what is it? Not many people maybe know about what a Planning Director does. Tell me about your department and what your department does.
Sure. The Planning Department for the City of Lakeville guides the development process in the city. What that means is we review applications for new developments, whether they be residential, commercial, or industrial. We work very closely with the Planning Commission, which is an advisory body to the City Council, and obviously also with the City Council. We have a staff of 4 right now. Besides myself, I have 2 associate planners and then a department administrative assistant.
So you have some guiding of the development. What kinds of documents or what kinds of policy statements exist to help you administer the council's direction?
The primary document that guides growth and development in the city that our department oversees is the comprehensive plan. What that is basically a look into the future and how the city wants to develop in the next 20 years. We do update the comprehensive plan every 10 years, but it's a lookout for 20 years. The most recent update of our comprehensive plan was in 2008. And again, we look at how the city will develop. how quickly the development will occur. So we look at land use for properties. We look at transportation component, our streets, also utilities, sewer, water utilities, and other components of the plan, including parks development. So we, again, we update that every 10 years. We're mandated by the state to do that. And we make adjustments to our regulatory standards, which is our zoning and subdivision ordinances, to be consistent with the comprehensive plan when we do update that. I would like to point out too that right now the city is currently in visioning process, Envision Lakeville, and that is something that is has a task force and using a number of members of the community, business community, residential, institutional members of the community that are looking again at where the city should be going and what we'd like to be developing in the next 20 or so years. And that'll kind of be a precursor to our next comprehensive plan update in 2018.
So how far out does a comprehensive plan look?
Well, this last comprehensive plan update that we did in 2008 actually looked out to the year 2030. And when we update now in 2018, we'll be looking out to the year 2040. And when we look at the various components of the comprehensive plan, again, not only land use, but we look at infrastructure like transportation and roads and what roads need to be upgraded, where the new roads should be going to accommodate the development that we see in that next 20-year outlook, and also sewer availability and utilities and where those will be extended again to serve development that we see occurring in the next 20 years.
So Darrell, what elements are talked about in a comprehensive plan?
So what is talked about in terms of the comprehensive plan again is a look at the land use, again residential, commercial, industrial, and for residential, for example, it's going to look at the type of housing that the city foresees for the next 20 years to meet the demands of the community today and what's projected for the future. For example, Lakeville is becoming an older community, and we need to take a look at different housing styles and housing types for what will be our growing senior population. So that's one component that we'll be taking a look at, and how do you properly put in the regulations for the city's zoning or subdivision ordinance that would encourage that type of housing. Also looks at transportation, with our streets and which streets should be upgraded, which new streets should be built and where, and what size those streets would be, whether they be 2-lane or 4-lane. And it looks at our utilities, sanitary sewer, water extensions, where those will go to follow and accommodate the growth. Parks certainly is part of that planning process as well. So it really is a comprehensive look at the entire city and the growth of the city for 20 years from a variety of perspectives.
So if our viewers want to take a look at the comprehensive plan and understand perhaps what the city fathers believe is the future of our community, where could they find that?
They can find that on the city's website, and it would be under the Planning Department tab. We have a link to that, and if folks, as they look at the comprehensive plan and they have some questions, they can certainly feel free to call the Planning Department and connect with one of the planners, and we'd be happy to answer their questions.
So Darrell, Lakeville's experiencing a housing growth again.
Right.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Compare where we are today versus perhaps where we were 2 or 3 years ago in the midst of the housing slowdown.
Well, we definitely have come out of the housing downturn from a couple of years ago. We really saw it kick off last year. We look at a couple of different measures in terms of how we've been doing and where we're going. New residential housing permits. Just as a comparison, in 2011, so just 2 years ago, we only did 118 new single-family homes, which was, I think, the lowest number that we've had since I've been here, and that's been for 25 years. Last year, we did 279 new single-family homes, and this year we are on a pace, and we're projecting that we will have 320 plus new single-family homes built in the city of Lakeville. That's a 65% increase over just 2 years ago, and the highest number that we would have since 2004. So within the last 9 years, this is going to be the highest number of new housing permits that we'll have had. So definitely we are coming out of this. We're on an uptick. Everybody is encouraged by that in the planning and inspection staff. And then looking to the future, that one way we gauge that is by new residential subdivisions. In other words, developers that are creating new lots and new neighborhoods where houses will be built in the next 2-3 years. And again, those numbers are up from the last couple of years. As an example, since 2011, if I use that, again, we did 173 new single-family lots were platted or came online in the city. Last year, we were up to 348. Again, these are all lots that new homes will be built on. And this year, we are numbers are going to be very similar to last year, about the 330 to 340 range. And just as a comparison, in 2009, basically at the bottom of the housing downturn for us, we only platted 16 new single-family lots in 2009. So compare 16, now we're in the mid 300s. So we really have come up. It's a very encouraging sign for us, and I think for the community that the growth is now getting back to levels that we had seen 7, 8, 10 years ago.
So it sounds like the number of houses that are being built are being matched by the number of new lots that are being created.
Correct. So that'll keep the inventory strong, so there'll be plenty of new lots that will be available for builders to construct new homes and get new residents coming into the community. Again, all a plus.
So what kinds of lots are you seeing developed?
Interestingly enough, it's predominantly single family. There really is not much activity yet in the townhome development side of things. I do expect that will come back, but it has not come back at this point. But for single family, it's actually some of the what we consider the smaller lot single family homes, which is homes on 70-foot wide lots. The houses that are being built on those lots are similar in size to the houses that were built on a traditional single-family lot, which in Lakeville is 85 feet. So it's a slightly smaller lot, but houses very similar in size. We heard from the building community, housing developers, that their clients, their interested parties, did not want to have a big yard to have to maintain. They still want to have a good-sized house, but they don't care to have the larger-sized yards for maintenance purposes. Everybody's busy and their time is valuable, and they don't want to be spending it outside doing yard work. So we heard that with our last comprehensive plan update in 2008, and we made some adjustments to our ordinances to be able to accommodate these size lots. And in fact, a number of developers have taken old townhome lots that weren't built on, that were platted in the early to mid 2000s but not yet built on, and again, the townhome market hasn't come back yet. And they have converted those lots into the 70-foot wide single-family lots because the demand is so strong.
So Darrell, what are some of the keys? What does the city need to monitor to make sure that as development is taking place, it's done in a managed way, and it's done so that it's not haphazardly accomplished by the development community?
Well, what we like to do is we like to be able to get input from the development community, whether that be commercial or industrial businesses or our residential developers. And what we do from time to time, and we just did this a couple of years ago, is we had a development forum and we solicited input from the development community. We took their input, and that's based on trends that they were seeing, things that their customers were asking them for, and then we made adjustments to our ordinance to help accommodate what we were hearing from the community. So we try to keep our in close contact with development community, with businesses, and get their feedback and make adjustments where we need to do so. And I think that the adjustments that we made here in the last year and a half have been met very favorably by the business community.
And then finally, Darrell, for most people, buying their primary home is the largest investment they're going to make, and they want to make the right decisions about where they purchase a home, where they build a home. How can the planning department help them if they would like to know more about the areas they're looking at buying?
We keep a quarterly update of residential developments in the community that have available lots, and the update is available on the city's website. And it's listed by the project name, where it's located, the number of lots that are available within that development, It lists even the school district it's located in. Some folks want to be in the Lakeville School District, and it lists that as well as the developer's contact information. So we have that available again on the website. If for some reason folks aren't able to find that, please, again, feel free to call the planning department. We can send that out to an email, or you can stop and pick that up.
Well, excellent, Darrell. I know you've been working for the city for over 20 years. You've seen the ups and downs of the market, and it's nice to know that we've got an experienced person helping guide development.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you for joining me on City Limits.
Appreciate it.
Did you know that there is a new law that requires CO detectors to be installed within 10 feet of every room in your home that is used for sleeping? Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless, tasteless, and toxic gas produced as a byproduct of combustion. If you need to add CO detectors in your home, they can be purchased at many local businesses and are easy to install. For more information on this new requirement, visit the city's website at www.lakevillemn.gov.
The curtain is going up for this year's season at the Lakeville Area Performing Arts Center. And this year, there's something for everyone. From a wide array of musical stylings to holiday seasonal performances, the Lakeville Area Arts Center offers the finest in regional entertainment. New this season, reserve seating for all performances. To find program descriptions and buy tickets online, visit our new website at www.lakevilleareaartscenter.com.
We remind residents that odd-even watering restrictions are in effect. In addition to the odd-even watering schedule, watering is not allowed between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. on any day. Fines will be imposed for non-compliance with the watering restrictions.
Hi, I'm Jody Nordstrom here with Cellar Notes, and we are talking to Robert Hall today, one of the most prestigious wineries in California. Can you tell us a little bit about what got you into the wine and about your winery?
I'd love to. Well, first of all, I'd like to tell everybody that coming back to Lakeville is something I started in the late 70s. I built a bowling center here called Burnsville Bowl, and some other apartments and so on and so forth. I didn't want to be in the real estate business anymore, and I always wanted to be in the wine business. So I bought 160 acres in Paso Robles, California. I've been to France many, many times, and the fruit that comes from there is what I want, the Rhone Valley. And so that's what we started to do. And I brought back some vines from France, and eventually, and planted them, and we've got 28 different varietals now.
Very nice. Of all the wines that you are currently making, which one is your favorite?
Well, Jody, I'm not trying to correct you, but we can't call it a favorite.
Okay.
So what we do is like, which is your favorite child? So I can't do that, but I can say my wine of choice.
Okay.
And my wine of choice is usually the Merlot. I like steak, and it goes really well with it. But there's times I'll sit on my patio, and I like a glass of Sauvignon Blanc. And the Rhone varietal is the flagship of our company. It's Grenache, Shiraz, Cinsault, and Counois. And it's got a nice soft feel to it. It's got a good nose. It's kind of like cherries. We did come out this year now with Zinfandel that we used to have, but Zinfandel wasn't popular. Now it's becoming a little more popular, and we're getting a lot of calls for it. So that will be our next release.
I know that you do practice sustainable farming.
Yes, we do.
What got you into that, and what makes it so important?
I guess we started it because we were stewards of the land. My winemaker is a real proponent of not putting chemicals on where they're not needed. The reason we went with the SIP program is because we didn't want to use chemicals, but with organic, they make you use certain chemicals, and the chemicals that they use are between 3 and 9% higher than any other chemical. And so if my neighbor would spray, we'd lose our certification. And so 7 of us vintners decided that we would start our own SIP program. And the city became involved in it. We did a lot of things that we felt was necessary. One is you have to have owl boxes. Owls work for us all night long, and there's no charge. They don't charge us. So they're good for the rodents. And then we have a 5-mile speed limit in the vineyard because dust kills, and you have to be fair to your employees. If you tell them that they've got a vacation coming, and if you tell them you've got holiday coming, you must perform to that. You have to pay them, and that's in the bylaws of the SIP program. You have to have a inspection every year. We pay for the person that does it, and they come out unbeknownst to us, and they go around the vineyard to make sure that we're doing exactly what we say that we do. And we've been doing it for 7 years now. So it's a way of life, and we feel it's good for the industry, and we make better wine.
Absolutely.
When you're at a winery our size, we don't filter our wine, and and we don't have any additives, and no supplements, and no enhancers in our wine. And everything comes from one of our 400 acres, and we pick by hand. We pick at night, and with all of our white wines, as an example, when we pick them, we pick it, start at 12 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock in the morning we're through, and then we put a blanket of dry ice on it for 2 days, so it locks in the flavor. And we do a lot of the little steps that the other wines don't do. And 2 years ago, we won the Golden Bear. That was the biggest thrill that I've ever had. We put in 2 cases of each and 10 different varietals, and then they added up the score, and whoever got the highest score won the Golden Bear. And that was in Sacramento at the State Fair. And when they told me that, are you coming to the show? And I said, I think I'm going to send Don. And he said, you know, Robert, we haven't seen you for a while. You come on out. So when that came about, everybody was just elated. And somebody said, would you rather have a 95 in the Spectator, or would you rather have the Golden Bear? I said, the Golden Bear, it was legitimate, didn't cost me anything. And so I said, we're just tickled to death to have it. And so to be dubbed the best wine in California is quite an honor.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming to meet with us today. It was a pleasure interviewing you.
Thank you for hosting us here. You got a beautiful store. This is probably one of the most beautiful beauties that I've ever been in.
Thank you very much. And all of Robert Hall wines are available at any Lakeville Liquors location. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now it's time for the answer to today's trivia question, which is, approximately how many people visit the Lakeville Area Arts Center every year? If you guessed 51,000, you would be correct. The Arts Center is gearing up for another season of performances and events. Look for the new playbill in your mailbox or visit their website at www.lakevilleareaartscenter.org. Here's a look at some of the road construction happening in the city. The intersection of Dodd Boulevard and Highview Avenue continues to be closed during the construction of a roundabout. In addition to the upgraded intersection, both Dodd and Highview will have improvements approaching the intersection. Detour routes are posted, and this project is expected to be completed by late September. Another roundabout is being constructed at the intersection of 205th Street and Kenrick Avenue, and this project is fully open to traffic. Landscaping and other construction will continue for a few more weeks. Many of the streets in the Valley Park and Clay's Acres neighborhoods are undergoing reconstruction. Drive safely in work areas. Along with new streets, there are stormwater and utility improvements taking place. Expect these projects to be completed sometime in the fall. Here's a look at some of the upcoming public meetings that you can attend at City Hall. The City Council will be meeting on Tuesday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. The Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resources Committee will hold its meeting on Wednesday, September 4th at 6 p.m. And the Planning Commission will hold its meeting on Thursday, September 5th at 6 p.m. The Finance Committee, which meets at the Water Treatment Facility, will be meeting on Thursday, September 12th at 7 p.m. For more information on government meetings and the role of our boards and commissions, visit the city website at www.lakevillemn.gov. That's it for this edition of Lakeville City Limits. Thanks for watching. If you experience a problem with your cable TV service here in Lakeville, you should first contact Charter Communications at 1-800-581-0081. If you do not receive a satisfactory response, you can call the city at 985-4407 and we will assist you in resolving your problem. And just a reminder, you can see all of our programming online on the city website at www.lakevillemn.gov. Thanks again for watching this program and all of the programming here on LG TV.